2 days before our honeymoon, my husband said he was too stressed to travel. I found him in Vegas with his work wife, so I gave them a honeymoon they'll never forget. I'm Claire, 31, female, and I'm supposed to be on my honeymoon right now. Instead, I'm sitting alone on a hotel balcony in Santa Monica, sipping warm champagne and watching the sun mock me with how beautiful everything still is. 2 days ago, I thought I was about to start the happiest chapter of my life. Turns out I'd been cast as the punchline in someone else's sitcom. Let me tell you about Trevor, 32, male, my husband of exactly 6 days. Trevor is the kind of guy people describe as charming at first, and only later admit he might have been a manipulative dick the whole time. He sells mid-tier tech to mid-tier companies, and somehow made it sound like a job that required immense stress, travel, and emotional bandwidth. I met him 4 years ago at a friend's housewarming. He was standing in the kitchen giving an unsolicited TED Talk about productivity apps. I made fun of him. He laughed. I fell for him. Trevor could be sweet. He brought me soup when I had COVID, left me sticky notes on the fridge that said, "Thinking of you," even drove 3 hours once when I got stuck in Bakersfield with a flat tire. But he also had this habit of making me feel small in ways that didn't leave bruises. Like the way he'd correct my pronunciation mid-sentence in front of his friends. Or how he always said my job as a food stylist was cute, like it was a hobby I should grow out of. I told myself he was just quirky, that we were different, that love meant compromise, that he chose me. We got married in a backyard ceremony last Saturday. Small, intimate, 40 people. I baked our wedding cake myself, a 3-tiered vanilla bean with sugared rose petals. Everyone said it looked like something out of a magazine. And the way Trevor smiled at me while I cut the first slice? I believed him. I believed we were in it for real. Monday morning, we were supposed to leave for our honeymoon. 2 weeks in Costa Rica. Beaches, volcanoes, zip lines. We'd been planning it for a year. Had the itinerary printed, sunscreen packed, even the travel pillows clipped to our backpacks. Then came the excuse. Trevor sat me down in the living room, rubbing his temples like someone in a daytime soap. "Claire," he said, "I'm really sorry. I can't go. Work is imploding. My boss is freaking out, and I need to be here. I'm too stressed to travel right now." I stared at him. "You're canceling our honeymoon the day before we leave?" He winced, like I was being unreasonable. "It's not canceling. It's postponing. Just a few weeks, I promise." I should have known. I should have known. But I bought it. I mean, it sounded legit. He showed me a few frantic Slack messages. I even texted his coworker Ashley, his so-called work wife, and she confirmed the team was under siege. That was the moment my stomach dropped. Because Trevor's always had a weird thing with Ashley, 30, female. They went to college together, worked together, traveled for conferences together. She once tagged him in an Instagram photo with the caption, "My platonic soulmate." I told him it made me uncomfortable. He said I was insecure. So, when I saw her name pop up on his Slack, something in me itched. And when I called his hotel room in Vegas and Ashley answered the phone, that itch turned into a scream. I didn't even know he was in Vegas. Let me back up. After Trevor hit me with the "too stressed to travel" line, I tried to be understanding. I really did. I told myself, he's overwhelmed. He needs space. It's just a delay. I even told my best friend Liv, 31, female, I'm not going to be that wife, the clingy one who flips out the second things go off plan. But something didn't sit right. It wasn't just the Ashley of it all. It was how relieved he looked when I said, okay. Not guilty, not disappointed, just relaxed. Like he'd dodged something. Tuesday morning, the day we were supposed to land in San Jose, I was sitting on the couch in my robe, scrolling through Pinterest trying to salvage my mood, when I got a notification. People you may know, Ashley K., Las Vegas. I stared at the screen. I don't know how the algorithm figured it out. Maybe from our text history, maybe a mutual tag. But the location hit me like a brick to the chest. I tapped on her profile. Private. No posts. Just the stupid little sparkles and vibing in her bio. I tapped harder than I needed to. Rage surfed back through her comments on Trevor's old posts. The flirty banter. The way she'd write things like, Ugh, remember Miami? And he'd reply with inside jokes. God. So I called, because I wanted to hear his voice. Make him say something that would make it all make sense. Ring. Ring. Click. Hello, a woman said, groggy. Her voice. Not Trevor's. Hi, is Trevor there? I asked, my heart in my throat. Long pause. Then, he's in the shower. Who's this? I hung up. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped the phone. My vision blurred. You ever have one of those moments where your whole body feels like it just fell through the floor? I didn't cry. I went cold. And then I booked a flight. Vegas is a 5-hour drive or a 50-minute flight from where we live. I chose the latter. Packed nothing but my phone, the backup wedding cake knife, and the little silk robe I was supposed to wear the first night of our honeymoon. I landed at McCarran at 5:42 p.m. Took a cab straight to the hotel I'd seen him post from during a sales conference last fall. Not even a double check. I knew he'd be there. The man is predictable like that. When I walked into the lobby, I saw them. Saw them. Just sitting at the bar, sipping cocktails like they weren't two lying sacks of garbage. Trevor in the same linen shirt he wore for our rehearsal dinner. Ashley in a backless dress, legs crossed toward him, laughing like a damn Bond girl. I didn't march over. I didn't scream. I took out my phone, snapped a photo, her hand on his knee, and texted it to Liv. Then I walked to the front desk. Hi, I said, smiling. I'm Claire Bishop. I believe my husband checked in under Trevor Bishop. The guy blinked. Yes, he did. Perfect, I said. I'll need a key to the room. Honeymoon suite, right? He hesitated, then handed it over. God bless the patriarchy because my last name hadn't even changed yet. You want revenge? Oh, honey, I was just getting started. Don't forget to subscribe. The elevator ride up to the suite was the quietest sound I've ever heard. My ears were ringing with rage, but my face was calm. Eerily calm. You know that feeling when you're so angry, your body sort of detaches? Like you're watching yourself from outside going, yep, this is happening. This is the moment everything breaks. That was me, holding a keycard to a room I wasn't supposed to be in, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, with a cake knife in my purse like I was storming the gates of hell. I slid the key into the door. Click. It opened. First thing I saw? Her heels by the door. A red pair of stilettos, the exact shade she wore at our wedding. Our wedding. She wore red. Said she wasn't into traditional bridesmaid stuff, but wanted to look fire. Trevor had grinned. Let her have her moment, he'd said. Let her. Their bags were open, clothes strewn. Room service on the table. 2 flutes, strawberries, chocolate. A robe slung across the bed. His. I recognized the initials. Mine was still in our closet at home. I stood in that room for maybe 5 seconds, just long enough to take it in. Then I started. First, I dumped the mini fridge. Everything, sodas, little bottles of vodka, overpriced almonds, onto the carpet. Next, I took the wedding knife, unwrapped it like a sacred relic, and carved a heart into the headboard. Inside it, C Plati. Then I found her makeup bag, poured shampoo into her foundation, lip gloss into her moisturizer, snapped her mascara in half like a twig. Petty? You don't know the half of it. Then came the finale. I took my robe, the one I was supposed to wear on our honeymoon, and laid it across the bed. Dead center. On top of it, I placed a printed copy of the photo I'd taken at the bar. Ashley's hand on his knee, his smile wide like a man who thinks he's untouchable. I wrote one word on the back, congratulations. Then I left. Not out the front door. No, I went down the service elevator because if there's one thing I learned from food styling sets and wedding venues, it's that every building has back exits for when things get messy. And it was about to get very messy. See, I didn't just take the photo. I posted it. To our shared wedding Instagram, the one we used for engagement shoots, planning updates, cake tastings. Caption? Trevor couldn't make the honeymoon because he was too stressed. Stress looks great in Vegas. Hashtags. Work wife goals. Plot twist. Guess I'm single. I turned off notifications. By the time I landed back home, the post had 784 likes, 93 comments, and 4 mutual friends had already messaged me. What is happening? But Trevor? Trevor hadn't said a word yet. Not a call, not a text, not even a sorry. Which told me everything I needed to know. That man wasn't just cheating. He was planning to never tell me. By the next morning, it was everywhere. Our friends' group chat imploded. His mom DM'd me, "Is this a joke?" and then went silent. My cousin sent me a screenshot from Facebook. Someone had reposted it to a wedding fail page. People I hadn't spoken to since high school were suddenly reaching out like, "Claire, what the hell?" But still, radio silence from Trevor. Until 11:14 a.m. That's when I got the text. "Trevor, I cannot believe you did this. You just ruined my career." Not, "I'm sorry," not, "Please talk to me," just pure delusional rage, like I was the villain for telling the truth. I stared at that message and laughed. Laughed so hard I choked on my coffee. This man was sleeping with Ashley in a honeymoon suite I booked, wearing the suit I paid to have tailored, and the part that hurt him the most was getting caught. 5 minutes later came another. "Trevor, you've always had a temper, Claire. I didn't want to tell you this, but people at work have noticed. It's embarrassing. You're making a scene again." And there it was. The emotional manipulation served fresh. See, Trevor had always been the reasonable one in public, the peacemaker, the calm voice in conflict. But behind closed doors, his calm was just stonewalling. Dismissiveness. Talking down to me like I was a toddler having a tantrum. This time, though, I wasn't yelling. I was documenting. I screenshotted his texts, sent them to Liv. She replied, "Girl, can I please go off in the comments?" I told her no, for now. Because I had one more move. See, Ashley didn't just work with Trevor. They weren't just work spouses. They were on a major project together for a brand new client, a luxury hotel chain trying to expand into Europe. Ashley had talked about it once at our engagement dinner, practically vibrating with excitement. It was her big break. They were supposed to pitch to the board in 2 weeks. So I did what any humiliated, scorned wife with a photographic memory and a very specific set of petty skills would do. I emailed the client. Polite, professional, attached the screenshot of Trevor and Ashley at the bar, and a copy of my wedding invite. "Just a heads up," I wrote, "that 2 of your lead consultants are currently violating company ethics and fraudulently using client funds. The suite they were in? Paid for using the business travel account. Because yeah, I checked. I checked the credit card charges while waiting for my flight home. And the card on file for the Vegas suite was the corporate Amex. I didn't hear back, but Ashley did. By midnight, her Instagram was wiped. Trevor's LinkedIn suddenly showed him open to opportunities. And me? I slept like a goddamn baby. Don't forget to subscribe. Update. 1. I did not expect this post to blow up the way it did. I thought maybe a few strangers would give me a "you go girl" and I'd scream into the internet void for closure. Instead, y'all turned this into a digital war room and I'm here for it. First of all, to the 200+ people who commented, "Burn it all down." Tempting. Very tempting. Especially the person who suggested I FedEx them the ashes of our wedding cake with a note that says, "For dessert." Pure poetry. Sadly, I ate the cake. It was delicious. Sorry. To the guy who DM'd me, "I hope you peed in their mini fridge. You scare me, and I respect that." Okay. Deep breath. Here's what's happened since. About 24 hours after I dropped that little nuke on Instagram, Trevor finally called. Not text. Called. And the man had the audacity to sound calm. "I just think you handled this really immaturely," he said. I said nothing. "I mean, yes, things happened," he continued, "but you've completely destroyed my professional reputation over a misunderstanding. You couldn't have just talked to me?" "Talked to you when, Trevor? When you were in a robe in the honeymoon suite with your coworker? Or when you had Ashley lie to my face while you were off drinking cucumber mojitos in Vegas?" I asked him one question. "Were you ever planning to tell me?" Silence. Long silence. Then, it's complicated. Let me translate, it's complicated for anyone lucky enough to never hear it from someone they loved. I wanted to cheat, get away with it, and keep all the good parts of you while screwing someone else in secret. Anyway, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, Trevor, check your email. Because while y'all were sending me memes and digital high fives, I was busy. Turns out I wasn't the only one Ashley had a thing for. A little digging, and a very enlightening message from someone named Jenna, who works at their company's Chicago office, revealed that Ashley's been networking her way up the ladder for years. Same pattern. Older male coworkers, after-hours drinks, trips. Suddenly, she's on the fast track. Trevor wasn't even her first work husband, just the most disposable one. I forwarded everything, to HR, to the ethics committee, to the hotel chain's general counsel. By this morning, they were both officially suspended pending investigation. But the best part? Trevor's boss, the boss, as in CEO of the firm, reached out to me. Not to apologize. Not to beg me to retract. No. He asked if I would be willing to forward my original email to the board because apparently Ashley and Trevor used company funds for 3 other off-site strategy weekends. One in Napa, one in Miami, one in Aspen. Guess who they billed those trips under? Client research. Guess who's now facing potential fraud charges? Stay tuned. Because I may have lost my honeymoon, but I'm about to ruin a career. Or 2. By Friday afternoon, my inbox was a battlefield. Legal. HR. 2 journalists. 1 gossip blogger. And, weirdly, Trevor's second cousin who DM'd me, "Hey, if you're single, I've always thought you were cute." Blocked. But you want to know what really broke me? It wasn't the betrayal. It wasn't the Instagram comments or the text from people crawling out of the woodwork like scandal-seeking termites. It was walking into our apartment, the one I had furnished, cleaned, filled with candles and the smell of fresh bread every Sunday, and finding a note on the fridge. Just 4 words, scrawled in his familiar handwriting. "You're overreacting. Call me." That's when I snapped. I didn't call him. I called Liv. "Pack a bag," I said. "For what?" she asked. "For the honeymoon." She didn't even hesitate. 2 hours later, we were on a red-eye to Costa Rica. I wore the robe on the plane. We brought nothing but swimsuits, petty rage, and a carry-on full of face masks and minibar gin. The resort staff didn't even blink when we checked in. If they recognized my face from the post, they didn't show it. We got the honeymoon suite, the exact one I'd originally booked. Rose petals, champagne, a swan-shaped towel on the bed that Liv immediately turned into a meme. We spent the first night in silence, floating in the infinity pool at 1 a.m., watching bats swoop low over the water and drinking straight from the bottle. I turned to Liv. What if I never saw it? What if I really believed he was just stressed? She shrugged. Then you'd be married to a liar who thought you were stupid. Would have saved me a lot of trouble. Would have wasted your whole life. She wasn't wrong. The next morning, I made the revenge official. I posted a carousel. First slide. Me in the silk robe on a balcony, holding a mimosa and smiling like a woman who buried a body and got away with it. Second, a video of Liv and I dancing in the room to Beyoncé in face masks, champagne in hand. Third, the ocean, captioned, "Turns out I didn't need a man to make this trip magical." Last slide, that fridge note, just the handwriting. "You're overreacting. Call me." With my final caption, "You're right, Trevor. I overreacted. I should have left you at the altar." It went viral again. Ashley's sister DM'd me, Ashley's own sister, to thank me for finally showing the world what kind of manipulative narcissist she's always been. Apparently, this wasn't Ashley's first fiancé situation either. She'd been engaged in 2018. Didn't end well. By the end of the day, I got a message from Trevor. "You're enjoying this. You're embarrassing both of us." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The world was watching, and he was spiraling, and I wasn't done. Not yet. Not by a long shot. Sunday was the turning point. Trevor showed up at my apartment. Not called, not texted, just showed up. Liv and I were still in Costa Rica, lounging in a cabana with smoothies and a pair of hot Swedish rock climbers who thought we were on a divorce celebration trip. We didn't correct them. When I got the ring alert, there he was, standing on my doorstep, hands in his pockets, looking like a rejected bachelor contestant. He knocked once, twice, then just sat down. On the doormat. No flowers, no apology. Just a pathetic, balding man in Target khakis trying to wait me out like some kind of sad rom-com cliché. He stayed there for 2 hours, called me 12 times, left a voicemail that started with, "I don't know who you've turned into," and ended with him crying and saying, "I miss you." Trevor, if you're reading this, no you don't. You miss the version of me who kept your secrets, who believed your lies, who didn't ask questions when your conferences mysteriously didn't allow plus ones. You miss the audience, not the person. You know what I did while he sat outside my apartment? I took a surf lesson. Badly. I ate it so hard I got sand in places I didn't know sand could reach. But I got up, and I rode a wave. And when I fell, I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in weeks. Then I posted the photo. Me, salt-streaked hair, board in hand, middle finger to the camera with the caption, "Some waves you fall off. Others you ride straight through the bullshit." Trevor saw it. Because that night, my neighbor texted me a photo of my car windshield, smashed, spiderwebbed like someone had taken a bat to it. And guess who's the only person with a history of accidental outbursts involving broken picture frames and mysteriously cracked phone screens? I reported it. Police said they'd follow up. They won't, but it's on record now. I called Liv. "I want to end this," I told her. She asked, "End it how?" I grinned. "I want to give them a honeymoon." She blinked. "Claire, what does that mean?" "It means I'm going to gift them exactly what they deserve." Because the final act wasn't going to be some Instagram post. Oh no. It was going to be public, poetic, and unforgettable, just like our wedding vows. Stay tuned. The honeymoon's about to begin. Update 2. Okay, so after part 6, some of y'all were foaming at the mouth like bloodthirsty bridesmaids, and I love that energy. Seriously. The messages? Insane. To the person who said, "Please stage a fake vow renewal where you marry your freedom at the original wedding venue. You are my muse now." To the dozen of you who suggested, "Send them matching shirts that say I cheated on my wife and all I got was this HR violation." You may see that on Etsy very soon. But anyway, let's talk about the honeymoon. I got home from Costa Rica last week, sunburned, hydrated, and spiritually reborn. Trevor had stopped texting. Ashley's social media was locked down. Their employer officially issued a bland corporate statement about internal restructuring and unexpected departures. Word on the street is they were both let go, with cause. You'd think that would be enough. But no. Because Ashley, sweet delusional Ashley, had the nerve to send me an email. "Claire, I understand you're hurting, but your public smear campaign has affected my reputation, and my family is suffering from the harassment. I ask that you take the post down and let us move on with dignity." Dignity. Dignity. You slept with my husband in the honeymoon suite I booked, and now you're asking for grace? So I gave her grace, in the form of a personalized, one-of-a-kind honeymoon gift package, shipped directly to her new shared residence with Trevor. Yes, I found the address. I won't say how. Let's just say not all bridesmaids stayed neutral. The box included a silk robe monogrammed with Mrs. side piece, a used copy of The Ethical Slut, marked up with sticky notes labeled, "Ashley, take notes," a travel guide to Costa Rica with all the pages dog-eared for couples activities, a framed photo of me, surfing, just me, with the words, "Wish you were her," across the bottom, and the pièce de résistance, a custom-printed menu titled "The Honeymoon They Deserved," with each course named after their lies. Oh, appetizer, too stressed to travel. Oh, entree, it's not cheating if it's strategic. Oh, dessert, just a work trip. Served cold. I shipped it with signature confirmation. The day it arrived, I got a single text from Trevor. "What is wrong with you?" I didn't reply. I just posted a story. The empty ring box, sitting in a trash can with glitter confetti, and the caption, "Healing looks different for everyone. Mine sparkles." I haven't heard from either of them since. And maybe that's the best revenge. Not the spectacle, not the exposure, not the career collapse, but the silence. The knowledge that they'll never know when or how the next reminder will show up. A tag, a smirk from a stranger, a framed insult on their doorstep. Their honeymoon will never end, but not in the way they hoped. I saw them again last Thursday. I wasn't planning on it. I was just grabbing groceries at this little overpriced market downtown, the kind of place where the apples have stories and the kale costs more than therapy, when I heard that laugh. Her laugh. Ashley. That forced, overperformed squeal she used to do at parties when Trevor said something mildly clever, like she was being paid per giggle. I turned my head, and there they were. Just standing in the cereal aisle like a normal couple, like they weren't radioactive. Trevor saw me first. He froze. I watched his whole face try to decide between guilt and arrogance. He landed somewhere between, "Please don't kill me," and "Should I pretend I don't see her?" Ashley, of course, didn't notice. Too busy talking. Until she turned and locked eyes with me mid-sentence. And she smiled. Like a challenge. That's when I knew they'd made up a whole new story in their heads. The crazy ex-wife. The vengeful woman who couldn't handle rejection. I bet in their version, I'd spiraled. I'd snapped. I'd made everything worse than it was. It took everything in me not to say anything. But I didn't need to. Because I was wearing the dress. The one I bought in Costa Rica. Emerald green, slinky, hits just below the collarbone and makes me look like I've got my life together even when I'm sweating through a panic attack. My hair was up, lipstick flawless, reusable grocery bag on one shoulder like I planned this. I looked happy. And that wrecked them. Trevor opened his mouth. Closed it. Ashley tried to muster that smug look again, but it faltered. Just for a second. Just enough. I walked past without a word. But I made sure my perfume trailed behind me. As I reached checkout, the cashier, a sweet guy named Logan, who's given me extra chocolate samples before, whispered, "Are you that girl from the wedding Instagram post?" I laughed. "Probably." "You're kind of a legend," he said. I just smiled. Later that night, Liv and I got drinks with a few friends. People still asked about the story. Still reposted the memes. It was surreal. Like I'd accidentally become folklore. A cautionary tale, sure, but also a kind of folk hero. But it hit me on the walk home, as I passed the empty cafe where Trevor and I had our first date. I'm really free now. Not just from the marriage. From the version of myself who tolerated crumbs and called it a meal. From the woman who would have let a man lie straight to her face because she was scared of starting over. From the girl who once thought loyalty meant silence. I am not that woman anymore. And God help the next person who thinks I am. So here we are. It's been 2 months since the wedding that wasn't and the honeymoon that was, and I finally feel like I'm breathing air that belongs to me. Not filtered through someone else's expectations. Not dulled by gaslighting or small lies that chip away at your reality. Just air. Clean, sharp, and fully mine. I moved out of our old apartment last week. Got a little loft downtown, smaller, brighter, quieter. No more dark wood and neutral tones. This place has color. A bright yellow couch. Plants I actually water. A disco ball in the kitchen because why the hell not? And taped to the fridge? That note Trevor left. "You're overreacting. Call me." Underneath it, in gold Sharpie, I wrote, "No, but thanks for the content." Because honestly, that's the legacy now. Not him. Not Ashley. Me. Me, rebuilding my life in public, with glitter and rage and grace. Me, refusing to shrink because someone else was threatened by my size. Me, understanding that revenge isn't a single act. It's a slow burn. It's living well. Loudly. And letting people see the fire without ever explaining the matches. But this is the part no one tells you about revenge. It doesn't fix everything. It doesn't erase the nights you wake up sweating, wondering if you were too much, too loud, too vengeful. It doesn't take away the ache of betrayal or the silence that used to be filled with shared routines and dumb inside jokes. But it does give you something. Closure? Maybe. Power? Definitely. Clarity? Absolutely. Because I see it all now. Every time he made me feel crazy. Every time she inserted herself into our relationship under the mask of friendship. Every time I doubted my own gut. It wasn't love. It was convenience. For them. And now, I'm inconvenient. Untouchable. Unapologetic. I'm not the girl who got left behind on her honeymoon. I'm the woman who took the damn trip anyway, turned betrayal into spectacle, and made sure the whole world learned her name. So if you're reading this, and you're wondering if it's worth it, if burning it all down is too much, let me tell you, the only thing I regret is not lighting the match sooner. And if Trevor ever dares to reach out again, I hope he gets my voicemail. You know the one. Hi, this is Claire. If you're calling to apologize, I'm already out dancing. If you're calling to explain, I've already heard enough. And if you're calling to ask if I still miss you, don't worry. I left the honeymoon suite warm. For the next poor soul you try to love bomb into submission. Be well, darling, and pack light. You never know when your lies will start to feel heavy.